Okay, I want you to imagine something. Picture yourself stepping into the Imperial Library of Kaifeng, right in the middle of the Song Dynasty's golden age. You can smell the old sandalwood and fresh ink in the air. A young apprentice, Li Wei, has just been given this monumental task. He has to chronicle the greatest achievements of ancient China to capture its very soul, and that's the journey we're about to go on together.
This quote from Li Wei's mentor, Master Zhao, really gets to the heart of what we're doing here. See, we're not just going to look at a list of inventions. We're going to explore the human need behind them, the hunger, the ambition, the problems they were trying to solve. That's where the real story is.
So, our guide for this story is a young historian named Li Wei. He's been tasked by the Grand Archivist to create this incredible record of the Middle Kingdom's brilliance. And his challenge? Well, it's our challenge too.
Right. This isn't about memorizing dates and names like some kind of merchant's ledger. It's about understanding the why, the spirit behind innovations that would literally go on to shape the entire world. So Li Wei's quest is now our quest.
So where does a quest like this even begin? Well, for Li Wei, it wasn't with a machine or a weapon. It was with an idea. He realized that the greatest achievements of all didn't start with things. They started with the attempt to create order out of chaos.
Think about it. Before you can even dream of building great walls or digging massive canals, you have to build a stable society. And for ancient China, Confucianism was that foundation. It was like a social glue, a blueprint that held everything together with ideas of respect, virtue, and order. It was the bedrock for everything else they would build.
And this is how they actually put those ideas into practice. This was revolutionary. For the first time in history, power wasn't just something you were born with, it could be earned. A peasant son with enough grit and intellect could literally rise up to help govern the empire. Your knowledge, not your family name, became the real currency of power.
And this brings us to two huge projects that show two sides of the same coin. You had the Great Wall, which was like a giant shield, a massive statement of defense designed to keep people out. And then you had the Grand Canal, which was the empire's main artery. It was the world's longest man-made river, and it was designed to do the exact opposite, to bring people and goods together, connecting the farming south with the political north.
All right, so we've seen these massive projects of stone and water. But next, Li Wei's chronicle turns to something incredibly delicate yet somehow powerful enough to build a bridge between entire civilizations. We're talking about silk, and the secret to making it was one of the most closely guarded in all of history. I mean, we're talking about a state secret so big that exporting silkworm eggs was an offense punishable by death. Because you see, it was so much more than just beautiful fabric. Silk was used as money, as a powerful diplomatic gift, and it was the engine that powered the legendary Silk Road, connecting China all the way to Rome. Okay, so now we get to the absolute heart of Li Wei's chronicle, what are famously known as the Four Great Inventions. These were breakthroughs that would fundamentally reshape not just China, but pretty much the entire world. First up, paper. You have to understand, before this, records were kept on these heavy, clunky bamboo strips or on incredibly expensive silk. It just wasn't practical for everyday use. Then a court official named Kai Lun figured out how to make a cheap, lightweight surface to write on, using stuff like old rags and tree bark. And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? He turned waste into wisdom. I mean, the genius of taking things people threw away, old fishing nets, scraps of hemp, and transforming them into a medium for knowledge and art, that's the very soul of innovation. And the impact of this? Oh, it was huge. It completely changed everything. All of a sudden, knowledge wasn't just for the rich anymore. Laws could be posted in every single village. The written word went from being a luxury to a tool for everyone. So, you've got cheap paper. What's next? You need a faster way to get words onto that paper. It started with woodblock printing, where you'd have to carve an entire page onto a single block of wood. But the real game changer was movable type. Individual characters made of baked clay that you could rearrange and reuse over and over again. Think about what that means. A scribe with a brush, no matter how fast, could create one copy. But the printing press, it could create thousands. This meant that knowledge wasn't just easy to share anymore. It was durable. It could be preserved and spread on a massive scale. And that's the real breakthrough here. Knowledge could now scale. A new farming technique discovered in one village didn't have to stay there. Now it could be printed in a manual and shared across the entire empire, dramatically speeding up learning and progress for everyone. All right, our third great invention is the compass. But get this, it didn't start out as a tool for sailors at all. It began as this mystical south-pointing spoon. and it was used by geomancers for feng shui, to align buildings with the Earth's natural energy for good fortune.
But then, someone realized its true power. For sailors, this changed everything. You were no longer stuck hugging the coastline or praying for a clear night to see the stars. You could venture out into the vast open ocean. It literally opened up the rest of the world for exploration and trade.
And that brings us to our final one. And honestly, the irony here is just incredible. During the Tang Dynasty, some alchemists were trying to create a potion that would make people live forever. And in the process of mixing sulfur, charcoal, and other ingredients, they accidentally created something that did the exact opposite.
Just wow. This quote perfectly captures it. They were looking for this quiet, personal immortality, and instead, they unleashed the power of thunder, this incredible world-altering force. It all started innocently enough, right, with fireworks for celebrations, but it didn't stay that way for long. Soon, it was used in fire arrows, then cannons and bombs. Gunpowder didn't just change a few battles, it changed the course of history. Suddenly, the strongest castle walls in the world were useless. It completely rewrote the rules of power.
So after all this, after documenting the philosophies, the engineering, the silk, the paper, the gunpowder, our young chronicler Li Wei has this final, profound realization about the true soul of his civilization.
He looks back at everything and he asks himself, what was the single greatest achievement of them all? Was it the wall, stretching like a dragon over the mountains? Was it the press that could print 1,000 books? Or the compass that could point the way across any ocean? And this was his answer. He realized that the single greatest achievement wasn't any one thing. It was the spirit behind all of them. It was that relentless drive for order, that deep belief that the world could be understood and improved, the audacity to not just live in the world, but to try and shape it. The real invention, he realized, was the very idea of ingenuity itself.
Please like and subscribe.